Good evening, y'all. It's Cody's Bait and Tackle, Warsaw, Missouri. Going to do a little bit different of a fishing report here today. I fished all day long today. Catfish this morning, crappie fish this evening. The bite can't get no better. Everybody always asks, why do you like to fish during the wintertime so much? These fish are predictable. As long as you ain't got nothing major happening with the water or major shed kill, ice is all coming off the lake right now. You know, it did start to ice up pretty good there for a few days. It wasn't enough to kill too many shad. There is a few shad dying. Not very many. I think it's just enough to really make them catfish feed. Get out looking. I did see some seagulls coming up. They was grabbing a few dead shad today on the main lake. Not too many. I've stuck around the main lake the last 2 days just because of the ice. Kind of what I found, if you can find the bait kind of off the bluffs and stuff, the crappies there and the catfish are not very far away. So this morning we catfished, and I grabbed a bunch of crappie right there where we was catfishing at, and some guys come up there live scoping, and I told them, I said, go on ahead and get right in there in front of us. I said that they was there when we pulled up here. I threw a slip cork a little bit, missed a couple, just while we was catfishing. And the fish had actually pushed down right after daylight. Them fish was about 15 to 18 foot deep, and that's where I had my slip cork. Well, when they got up there with their live scope, the sun had got up good, and them fish had pushed all the way down to 22 to 25 foot deep, so I was fishing over the top of them. They was far enough away I couldn't really tell. I didn't adjust my slip cork enough to find them. I actually thought they'd have shallowed up some, and they went deeper instead. So we got done catfishing. We sat in one spot, caught all of our catfish yesterday and today, no problem. Never even had to move the boat once I found them. As far as on the crappie, I went back out. I needed to finish breaking in my boat and get my fish finder tuned in all the way. Well, I didn't have clients on the boat, so I finally had time to do that this evening. Messed around with the crappie a little bit. I found a bunch of crappie deep yesterday while I was looking for shad. The shad I caught yesterday was in about 35, 40 foot of water right off a main channel. And right there where that channel dropped off, there was all kinds of crappie schooled up deep in that 30 to 35 foot range, but they was out in 45 to 50 foot of water. So I went back this evening just to see if them fish would bite. I knew they hadn't been messed with. Most of your guys live scoping won't fish that deep. I set up on them, couldn't quite get my depth right. Finally, what I ended up having to do, I measured out my line where I thought them fish was, and I put a stop at the tip of my rod, and that let me mark, just like a bobber stop. I used dental floss, tied a knot in there. That let me mark about 33, 34 foot is what I had measured out, and I immediately started catching fish. They was in some good crappie. I mean, I had some probably 14-inch fish out of that deep water. A lot of short crappie. I messed around with them a little bit. Kept some of the bigger ones. Turned loose everything that was even close to 9 inches. You know, I just kept the ones that you didn't have to measure. I went looking around, graphed some more. I had some more fish I graphed this morning. When I was looking for bait, went back, messed with them. They was in about 32 foot of water. And I'm on the main lake on Truman. You get further up, the arms are going to be shallower. But as far as what I found, them fish in that 30 foot range was right on bottom. I was running a double minnow rig. I did try to use jigs. I caught a couple on jigs, but it was pretty slow. I didn't switch colors around much. So I took some minnows with me, so I used them up, fished pretty much until they was gone. I took about 4 dozen and just about ran out of minnows. Them fish that was on bottom, I dropped down. I was running just a double minnow rig like you'd run for spider rigging on my long rods. The way I was getting them out, could reach out. I don't have real good control of that big sea arc, so that kind of lets me be more where I want to be, unless I'm tied up to something, and then I can sit pretty still. But just as far as spot locking on the trolling motor, it moves around quite a bit. Them fish was hungry. I mean, you drop down, raise it up about 3 cranks, and you had a fish on. It was that fast. I sat there for probably 45 minutes. I don't know how many fish I caught. A few short fish, a lot of keepers, a lot of good ones. I ended up keeping a limit tonight just to give away. As far as the catfish this week, I'm sure the upper end, as soon as all that ice comes off, it's going to be on fire. If there's a few shad dying up there, then fish will be out trying to find them. Be shallower. Everything I fished yesterday and today, catfishing wise, was about 28 to 35 foot of water. That was kind of the sweet spot there. Up the lake, you know, I would say your channel edges are going to be the first thing that'll really be good. Well, I would definitely make sure you have fresh bait. Which right now, it's pretty easy to find. That bait's all schooled up. Great big schools, just like these crappie. Just graph, look around. You might have to, like yesterday, I was having trouble getting down deep enough. The wind was blowing the boat away from my fish, so even though I had 60 foot of rope on my throw net, by the time it got down to bottom, I was off of them. And then luckily I found them in 30 foot of water and managed to catch them pretty easy. But just trust your fish finder on the bait. It will show you, and you can't miss it this time of year. If you're just seeing small pods, you know, it's either just handfuls of them small shad, or you're seeing schools of crappie. Everywhere I've been, there's small pods of crappie. Anywhere there's bait, there's crappie right now. So that's really, really hard for some people to tell the difference. Your shad are going to be monster schools right now, though. So the ones I caught this morning, there was 15 foot of solid shad on the bottom in about 35 foot of water. So you shouldn't have trouble finding them. I have not heard much on Lake of the Ozarks this week. I haven't talked to many people. I know they've still been shooting docks down there, doing real good on them. I did see some guys on the bottom end. Some of the bass guys was down there throwing jerk baits, catching some great big crappie down there. That was pretty cool to see. I seen them post that on Facebook. And they do that about this time of year every year. I've never seen anybody try that on Truman, but when you get up in some of them creeks right now where them crappie are shallow, it probably would work up there too, but you'd probably get hung up a lot more. That's really about all I've got, y'all. We still have a few openings for catfish here this month, not very many. I've got 2 or 3 openings left in March, and then I'll be booked solid until October. So if you guys want one of them last remaining dates, go on ahead and give the shop a call this week and get on the board for them. Probably mainly be catfish. I probably won't run any more crappie trips this winter. Right now, just about everybody there is catching crappie, so I probably won't do too much more of that. I'll probably just stick with these catfish. Right now is the time to catch a big one, so we'll try to beat that big one I had a couple weeks ago. We had one, you know, that's probably 65, 70 pounds, so that's going to be what I got to try to beat this year. I appreciate it, y'all. Thank you very much. Phone number at the bait shop if you do want to book one of them trips is 660-723-5115. I appreciate it. Thanks for listening. Have a good one.